Hello, this is The Fight Guy. I'm your host, Guy Pert. UFC Des Moines this weekend. Fight night in Iowa, if you will, where the corn is taller than the skyscrapers. It's going to be a chaotic card, all right, from start to finish. I'm going to let you know who I think survives each and every single one of those fights. I'm going to start with the main card, and I'll work my way back down with the prelims. Bo Nickal can get fraud checked. All right, this guy, Bo Nickal could possibly get fraud checked in Iowa, of all places. That would be a bittersweet moment for a lot of Iowa wrestling fans, but we're going to get into all of it. Like I said, I'm going to start with the main card. We'll work our way back. In the very first fight on the main card, Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones. Both of these guys, this is their first fight back in the UFC after years, really. Jeremy Stephens last fought in the UFC in 2021. Against Jesus Gamrot, I believe, was his last fight in the UFC. Mason Jones, I forgot who his last fight was. It wasn't anybody notable. It was in 2022. So it's been a few years since either one of these guys has stepped in the octagon in the UFC, that is. Mason Jones, he's been I think he's on a 4-fight win streak in Cage Warriors. 2 of those guys had losing records. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mason Jones is absolutely phenomenal on the feet. He's very fun to watch. He's a tough guy. I would recommend, it's only Wednesday night when this video comes out. I'd recommend going back and watching Mason Jones versus Mike Davis. I interviewed Mike Davis. Some of you guys have watched it earlier this year. We talked about that fight specifically. The Mason Jones versus Mike Davis fight was an insane war. Highly recommend any of you guys that are watching this, go check that fight out before Saturday, because I think Mason Jones is going to get this one done. Jeremy Stephens, he's 8 years older. That being said, he's been in the UFC for a while. He went on I'm not going to say a run. He fought a lot of very tough guys a lot of them are still active right now, but he just hasn't gotten any notable wins over any of them except for Josh Emmett in 2018. But as you guys know, Josh Emmett is now a featherweight, so I believe that fight was at lightweight. I don't know. My point is, Jeremy Stephens, he has all the experience you can get. He's been fighting pro since he was 18, the last 20 years. He's been fighting pro since Mason Jones was 10 years old. That being said, he does have a 8-year age advantage here. So, if this goes into the third round, are we going to see a big power differential? I think so. I don't think this fight is going to make it to the third round. I think one of these guys will get knocked out before then. And I believe Mason Jones has better grappling than Jeremy Stephens. So there's a weapon in his back pocket he can use anytime he wishes. I don't know how he's going to approach this fight. I'm assuming both these guys are just going to try to take each other's heads off. That's how I'm 80% certain how this fight's going to go. But it could be another opportunity for Mason Jones, to get back into the UFC. He's a tough guy. And, he's been fighting in Cage Warriors, like I said. If he wants to get in the UFC, he may have to just treat this fight, like a lot of the unpopular fighters have been so far this year, and wrestle to win, pretty much. Just wrestle, maybe secure the first round, second round, and then you could swing with Jeremy Stephens when he's tired. That's how I kind of see this fight going. Logically, but I could see both these guys sitting down in the pocket and just swinging. So if Mason Jones was smart, he would use his wrestling early on, establish that threat, and then he'll swing and hopefully knock Jeremy Stephens out. It's going to be a great fight. Excited for it. I'm going to go with Mason Jones. Sorry, I had to grab my prescription glasses so I don't get skin cancer. Next fight on the main card, Cameron Smotherman versus Sidey. Now, this is... I've went back and forth on this fight, along with a couple other ones, honestly. I've gone back and forth with this fight. I had Cameron Smotherman. I went back. I did Sidey. I went back for Cameron for a minute. I'm going to stick with Sidey. I think he is the better pick. Of course, he has a slight reach advantage, 3-inch reach advantage, but that's enough. I don't believe he's ever been finished before. I believe those 2 losses are both via decision. One was a split decision against a bad stoppage in the Dana White Contender Series fight. The history there. They ran it back. Who did he fight again? Was it Ramos or something? No, yeah. Ramos Tavares, yeah, they ran it back twice. That first knockout was a very bad stoppage. It was just a knockdown. The ref stopped it. They ran it back. Close split decision. He took that L, but I don't think he takes the L on Saturday. I think he's going to win. I just don't think Cameron Smotherman is that good. I don't think he's as good as his record shows. I don't know. He's never been submitted. Sergey's never been finished, but Cameron has been knocked out twice. I believe he's 6-2 with knockouts and 1-0 with submission. So his chin has been discovered before. I think it has been a little while since he's been knocked out, but Sergey's never been knocked out. So we reach advantage. I think he's going to be able to play his game. I think he's going to be able to land the jab, land more shots, control the fight. And if Cameron gets desperate, I think he could put him to sleep. He can get him out of there. I'm going to go with Sergey to win this. I'm not sure what the odds are going to be at the end of the week. He was an underdog yesterday. Now he's a slight favorite. So if you see this, maybe hop on Sergey before it becomes unprofitable to do so. Next fight, third fight on the main card, Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. This is going to be a great fight. I'm very excited for this fight. And I should have said it in the beginning of the main card, but all 6 of these fights on the main card all have the potential to not go the distance, to not rely on a single judge for the second half of this card. I hope that's the case. If there was a fight, maybe 2, that did not get finished, I would predict it to be this one. Daniel Marcos is a pretty good decision fighter. He's a really good Peruvian boxer, but Montel Jackson, man, this guy is legit. I believe his last fight, he knocked out Damon Blackshear, who's already got 2 wins this year, I believe. Damon Blackshear, that was last year. I believe Blackshear has 2 wins already this year. Montel Jackson, man, he's got serious power. Also, worth me noting this, you guys have probably already seen it, but Montel Jackson holds the record for the longest reach in the UFC bantamweight division, I believe, ever. Sean O'Malley, just to give it a little bit of perspective, I believe Sean O'Malley's a 72, maybe a 73-inch reach. So Montel Jackson, when you think of Sean O'Malley, you think like, okay, this guy cuts all this weight so he could have a huge reach advantage and just be, able to land strikes better than anybody else in the division, which is smart. But Montel Jackson has an even bigger reach than Sean O'Malley, so worth noting. I'm really curious to see how Daniel Marcos wants to approach this fight. Montel Jackson, he's got decent grappling. Let's see, what did I rate him? I gave him 3 stars. 3 stars, yeah. He's got decent grappling. I think it'll be enough to definitely shrug off any takedown attempts Marcos has coming his way. Maybe even use it offensively a bit if he's not finding the success that he should be finding with that reach advantage. Marcos, like I said, man, he's a really good boxer. He's really good in the pocket. So if he is able to close the distance on Jackson, he's probably going to land some hard shots this fight. But I think Jackson's going to be able to keep his distance. I think he's going to not get taken down, and he's even going to be able to use offensive wrestling, I think, if it comes down to it. So I'm going to go with Montel Jackson. This might be crazy, but I'm gonna say he gets the knockout over Daniel Marcos. I think he's gonna lose his 0. This has been the year of undefeated fighters losing their 0s. It's happened a lot so far this year. Hopefully, it doesn't happen in the co-main event. We'll get there in a second. Next fight: Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. D-Rod, man, he's been in for. Man, I love both these guys. Santiago used to be a middleweight, found a lot of success, in my opinion, since coming down to welterweight. Daniel Rodriguez has been on the ropes. This is definitely towards the end of his career. Honestly, they're both 38, so we're towards the tail end of both of their careers. But Daniel Rodriguez, it really felt like he was going to get cut last year. He really needed that win in July, but this is going to be a great fight. This is a classic, a striker showdown. Daniel Rodriguez is very technical with his boxing. He's really good at striking. Apparently, he's a BJJ black belt. I don't know how legitimate that is. But Santiago, he'll just go in there and swing. He's not as technically sound as Daniel Rodriguez, but he loves to knock guys out. I mean, what is his finish rate? I believe, Santiago's finish rate is over 75%. Daniel Rodriguez just slightly over 50. So if this goes to decision, I'm probably going to say, like, just off the top of my head, if this fight does not go the distance, Daniel Rodriguez is going to win the decision. But my pick is Santiago. I think he's going to find the finish. I think, Daniel Rodriguez, he's just been cracked too many times, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to walk out of this one. I think he's going to get finished in this one, yeah. Yeah, he had a split decision win over Morono, which I respect a lot, but Morono as of lately just hasn't looked great. So I'm leaning with Santiago. Let me just double check something. Lost to Holland. Was it at welter? Knocked Morono out. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Santiago. I think he's gonna find the knockout on Daniel Rodriguez. I think it's gonna be a pretty balanced first round. I think both guys are gonna land some good shots. I think Daniel Rodriguez is gonna tighten things up in the second round, try to be a little bit more technical, and I think Santiago is just gonna crack him. I just have this feeling. So I'm going with Santiago. It's gonna be a great fight. We will see co-main event of the evening. RDR, Reinier de Ridder. All right, second fight in the UFC versus Bo Nickal. All right, got the Bo Nickal sweater on. I'm wearing it every day this week. Gosh, where do I start with this one? Let's start with Reinier de Ridder, man. Reinier is insane. He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage this fight, 5 years older, 3 inches taller. He's finished all 19 of his wins except for 2. 2 of them went to decision. Or no, 2 of them he was knocked out. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's won every decision he's ever been in, which was only been 2. He's been knocked out twice, but other than that, I mean, this guy is a submission guru. He got Gerard Meerschaert out of there, who's got the most submissions in UFC history, I believe. The guy's got like 27 submissions or something like that. Maybe even more. He got him out of there. It was very impressive. Of all people to submit Gerard Meerschaert like that, it was very impressive on your UFC debut. But if there's a guy that is not going to let you play that jiu-jitsu stuff with him, it's going to be Bo Nickal. I mean, he even suplexed Gordon Ryan. Everybody's seen it 100 times. Bo Nickal. Man. Bo Nickal. Okay, so this is going to be such a great fight. Obviously, I got Bo Nickal to win. I think that Bo Nickal is going to try to strike on his feet with RDR. I think that he's going to try to exchange on his feet and keep the fight standing. If it's a close fight, you may see him mix in a takedown just to get control time, but I don't see him finishing RDR with ground and pound unless he lands a big shot on the feet first. I think Bo Nickal's explosiveness, coming from a wrestling background myself, I know how our tendencies are as wrestlers. Like it starts at an early age and it just sticks with you. You were aggressive, you were scrambling. It's just 100% all the time. And I think that, if he's going to take RDR down and, maybe he'll be able to deal some damage, I don't think he's going to get a TKO on the ground unless he knocks RDR down first on the feet. Also, if this goes to decision, I just see Bo winning. So, I don't see, RDR, getting controlled for 11 minutes, the fight going to a decision and winning. I don't see that at all. I don't see how that's possible. He could possibly submit Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal, he's probably, like an upper blue belt right now in the jiu-jitsu world. Maybe even a little bit better because of how often and frequently he trains and his advanced knowledge of wrestling. He might be towards a purple belt, maybe. RDR is black belt plus quality in the MMA world. His submissions are insane. It's going to be a great fight. I'm going to go with Bo Nickal to win via decision. Although, like I said, if he gets a knockdown, I think he'll get the finish via TKO on the ground. It's going to be a great fight. A lot of questions are going to get answered. If Bo Nickal loses this fight, I don't want to necessarily say he's been fraud checked, but it does set him back at least another year and a half or so. Yeah, it's not a fraud check, but you're on the front door. Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo, our main event of the evening. This is a great fight. Once again, it's another Cory Sandhagen fight night, not against Sean O'Malley. It should have happened years ago, 2 years ago. but we still haven't gotten it yet. So I want to see that matchup almost more than any other matchup I want to see in the UFC right now. Of course, Islam and Tapura is going to be fun. Of course, Hamzat and DDP is going to be fun. There's a lot of fun fights down the road. But Cory Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley is just something I've been pleading for way too long. Without further ado, let's get into this fight. Sandhagen, he's got the reach advantage. He's half a foot taller than Figueiredo. I think he's going to be able to manage his distance pretty well. He's got good grappling. It's not as good as Figueiredo's, but he does have better striking to kind of balance that aspect out. I do think Cory Sandhagen is going to be able to keep his distance with Figgy. Maybe, we see some clinch work. He's really good in the clinch. Both these guys are, but I really like Cory's combinations. I really like his fight IQ. Yeah, I think he's going to control this fight. I do. And I think we might even see a finish here. Figgy, he mentioned, wanting to try to get in play of a title shot. He said that's the goal with beating Cory. He's going to beat Cory Sandhagen, and then he's going to ask for a shot at the title next. I mean, it puts him in line for sure. Maybe not the next, but maybe the next after. But my point bringing that up, this is a 5-round fight. Cory manages distance really well. He's really good everywhere. Especially his striking is just so fun to watch. The way he throws front kicks, knees, elbows, everything. I want to see Cory Sandhagen win this fight. I think we're going to see him win this fight. I think we're going to see a finish because of the urgency from Figueiredo. I think he's going to be down a few rounds when it gets into the championship rounds, and he's going to make a mistake. Sandhagen's going to make him pay for it. I got Sandhagen to win this fight via TKO in the 4th round. That's my bold prediction. 4th round TKO for Sandhagen. And then he gets to fight Sean O'Malley next, whether he wins or loses. If Sean O'Malley loses the title fight against Merab, Sean versus Cory Sandhagen, top contender spot. If Sean wins, depending how that fight with Merab goes, I mean, they might need to run it back for the trilogy, but I want to see Sandhagen and O'Malley. I got Sandhagen winning round 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put all my votes in for the main card here on the consensus score, and then we'll go down and break down the prelim card. Jones, we got Mason Jones winning. It's about 50-50. We're going to go with the Ukrainian beating Smotherman. Okay. Jackson and Marcos, we're going to go with Jackson. All right, a lot of people going with Jackson. We're going to go with Ponzinibbio. Don't let me down, man. Nickal. Okay, 60-40 on the Bo Nickal poll. And then, yeah, Sandhagen. So those were my main card picks. Let's knock out the prelims as fast as possible. This fight makes that easy to do. Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic to start the prelims. Man, this is going to be an insane fight. This has got to be top 3 on the entire card. Wait, no, this is actually the worst fight on the entire card. Juliana Miller, not sure how she's in the UFC. What is there to say about this woman? There is one compliment. I guess benefit or positive. Let's say positive variable. When you look at her MMA profile here, she's 4-3. But all 4 of those wins have come via finish. All right, she's submitted 3 of her opponents, knocked out one of them. Then we go over to Ivana Petrovic. Ivana knocked out 3 of her opponents, submitted 3 of her opponents, lost 2 decision fights, won 1 decision fight. Ivana's going to win this fight. Nothing really else to say. Juliana Miller is just not UFC caliber. I could be corrected. I could get corrected. I will eat my words on my next video, but it's not going to happen. Juliana Miller is probably going to get knocked out. Yeah, 1st round. Next fight, we have Thomas Peterson versus Don'Tale Mayes as a heavyweight fight. 2nd fight on the prelims. I had Thomas Peterson. When I first put my tweet out with all my picks, I had Thomas Peterson as one of my picks. I had to go delete that tweet, go back and re-edit it. I changed my mind twice on this fight. I did this swaparoo here. Don'Tale Mayes, he's the one that got heel hooked by Julius Walker, I believe. Yeah, Julius Walker. Is that his name? Johnny Walker's little brother? Walter Walker, not Julius Walker. Julius Walker's the light heavyweight that just made his debut against Menefield. I'm thinking of Johnny Walker's little brother. Walter Walker heel hooking Don'Tale Mayes in the 1st round. I was pissed off. I was very fucking mad about that. I wasn't mad at Walter so much. I was extremely upset with Dontel Mays. It's like he didn't know. He rolled the wrong way when Walter was cranking a heel hook. It's like, dude, you obviously don't know, because it's not something you have to think about. It's reactionary at that point. Heavyweight skill gap. All right, Thomas Peterson. Okay, this guy's got over a 75% finish rate, I believe. Yep. He was knocked out his last fight, and that is what made me switch to Dontel Mays. I was already like 50-50 for this fight. The deciding factor for me was Thomas Peterson. If he wanted to apply the grappling on Dontel Mays, he should be able to do it no problem. However, Dontel Mays' grappling did not look that bad against Walter Walker, with the exception of the leg lock game, which is... It's not beginner level stuff. Leg locks, it's intermediate to advanced level stuff. Okay, so I'm not going to grill him too bad for not playing the leg lock game correctly. But I do think he's going to be able to hold up takedown attempts from Thomas Peterson. All right, you only need to stuff a couple of those at heavyweight. If you do it right and you make him pay for it, I think Dontel Mays hits a little bit harder. I know Thomas Peterson's finished more guys. What is he, 7-2 with knockouts, 1-0 with submission. He's only won one of his 9 wins are via decision. The rest are all finishes. Dontel Mays, slightly over a 50%. Oh, no, he's... Yeah, slightly over a 50% finish rate. You could obviously see here his weakness is submission. There is a grappling deficit on his side. But, I think if he could just stop the takedown, just a couple takedowns, it only takes one shot. I'm going to put my faith in Dontel Mays' striking over Peterson's potential grappling. It's a heavyweight, man. Both these guys swing big. I wanted to get an underdog pick in. I don't think this is a terrible underdog pick. All right. If Dontel Mays loses this fight, cut him. I never want to see him again. I'm giving him a second chance here. I'm putting my heart on the line. Dontel Mays. I will forgive that heel hook insanity if you take care of business Saturday. I think he might do it. So we're going to move on. Third fight on the preliminary card. Gaston Bolanos versus Quang Le. This one I went back and forth on as well. I think this was, I went back and forth on half of these fights. I think that, who am I siding with on this one? I'm going to go with Quang Le. I think that's who I picked. Let me double check that. Quang Le. Yeah, I changed my pick from Gaston Bolanos to Quang Le. Man. It's going to be a close fight. I don't think I haven't seen Gaston's grappling, like legitimate grappling, be tested. Quang Le, he does have an ability to grapple, and I'll show you here. We'll take a look. I believe Gaston's been submitted. Look, he's been submitted twice, and he doesn't have any submission wins. The guy can strike. I will say that. He's got some power in his hands, but Quang Le, he's just a little bit better everywhere. 3-0 with submissions. We just saw his opponent's kryptonite is submission. So I understand he was unable to really grapple effectively against Chris Gutierrez, but Gaston Bolanos isn't Chris Gutierrez. He's a level below, I believe. I think Quang is going to be able to apply the grappling. He should apply the grappling. Weaken Gaston early on. Maybe take the first round with control time. Do some damage in the second round. And then if you want to strike at that point when Gaston's a little bit tired, you can. But obviously, the game plan is very clear here. Quang Le is going to need to grapple Gaston to win. If he doesn't grapple and he just wants to strike, I'm leaning towards Gaston Bolanos to win this fight. My official pick, Quang Le via submission to win this fight. We'll move on. I'm very excited for this women's fight. This is a great women's strawweight fight. Fourth fight on the prelims, Mariana Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson. I love Jillian Robertson, man. She's got some of the best jiu-jitsu in the strawweight division. There's no doubt about that. I forgot the name of the gym that she trains at in Miami. Great gym. Great training partners. She's training with some of the best in the world. She's 9 years younger than Mariana Rodriguez. Okay. However, Mariana Rodriguez, she's never been submitted. All right. 7-1 with knockouts. Okay, so she has just under a 50% finish rate. What does that tell you? She'll go to decision. She's not afraid to go to decision. She is 1-4 in her last 5. I am afraid for her If she gets finished this fight, she's possibly going to get cut from the UFC. I mean, I don't know, she's close. She's close to just based off of being one in her last 5 and, losing to a lot of these up-and-comers like Lucindo, Jessica Andre. Lemos has been around for a while. Yana Dobra. Those are 3 brand newer contenders in the UFC. She's lost to all of them in her last 5. It's not looking good for Mariana as of lately, but I'm going to pick her to win this fight. I am going to pick her to win this fight via decision. I think this fight's going to go the distance. My hope here, how I think this fight's going to go, Mariana is going to be able to keep it on her feet for most of the first round. Maybe she gives up a takedown in the last minute. But I think she's going to be busy enough to win the first round. Jillian Robertson is going to be forcing kind of like a one-dimensional game plan here. She's going to go for takedown. She's going to try to submit Mariana Rodriguez. Rodriguez has a reach advantage in this fight, the 2-inch reach advantage. It's not a huge, but I think she's going to be able to keep Jillian Robertson at bay for the first couple rounds, and I think she's going to win a 29-28 decision. That's my pick. I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a fun one to watch. We move on. 2 fights left on the prelims. Ryan Loder versus Azamat Bekaev. This is an insane fight, man. Azamat, I believe both of these guys, Azamat has a 75% finish rate. Ryan Loder just over 50%. I believe he's finished 5 of those 8 wins. Ryan Loder's debut in the UFC, I believe. Yeah. He did have a fight, it was a Ultimate Fighter finalist fight, so I'm not counting that one against Robert Valentin. But this will be his official, UFC debut. That's not Ultimate Fighter affiliated. He's got power in his hands. He's pretty good, but Azamat is pretty good too, man. This guy, I think he's only been finished once via submission. He's 7-0 with knockouts. He's 8-1 with submissions. Trains at American Top Team. Some of the best training partners, some of the best fighters in the world. Knocked out Zachary Reese in January of this year. I believe it was the first pay-per-view. Azamat is really good. I believe he should be ranked. Like he's top 15 caliber right now. I'm afraid by the time he gets that number, it's not going to reciprocate how good he actually is. But he's getting there. Ryan Loder, it's a little bit of an oddball, man, because this guy, he's a little bit newer, 8-1. We saw him on Ultimate Fighter, but he was the finalist. But this is the big leagues now. This is a great test for him. My eyes are wide open for this fight, but I'm going to go with Azamat Bekaev to get a TKO win over Ryan Loder here. It's a war. Honestly, I'm 60-40 on this one. But I think the experience with Azamat, I think his training partners, he's already off to a hot start this year. I think that's going to continue. We're going to move on to the last fight on the preliminary card. Before I do this, if you guys have not already, if this is your first time in the channel, please subscribe and like this video. It will help me a lot if you leave a like. Breakdowns, predictions every single week, and UFC fighter interviews. Let's finish this last fight. Yana Santos versus Miesha Tate. Mommy Miesha. Hardcore fans, man, we can never bet against Tate unless it was against Mackenzie Dern. I'm going to have to pick my girl Mackenzie Dern. But Mommy Miesha versus Yana Santos. Yana Santos is absolutely terrible. Miesha Tate's getting towards the end of her career, 38 years old, bantamweight. She's been around for a while in the UFC, but she is over a 50% finish rate. Both these girls are. I believe, what's going on with Santos? Yes, Santos, 2 in her last 5. Chelsea Chandler, what? She got beat by Chelsea Chandler? I didn't even notice that. That was her last, oh no, she beat Chelsea Chandler. Whoops, little brain fart there. Was about to say, still going to decision against Chelsea Chandler when we just watched her get wrecked in the first round. Definitely going with Miesha on this one. I think she's better everywhere. Despite having a 3.5-inch reach disadvantage, she's going to be able to wrestle Yana Santos. She's going to be able to take her down if she needs to. So I'm going to go with Miesha Tate to win this via decision, 29-28. And that'll wrap up the entire card. It's going to be an amazing card. Hopefully, my man Bo Nickal, no Bickle, gets a finish. I would love to see him in the rankings. I'd love to see him with some momentum going into the main rankings with a finish against RDR. The guy's never been Oh, he's only been knocked out twice. That's going to be an amazing fight. This entire card's going to be fireworks. I'm excited for it. I will see you guys on Sunday. I'll do my recap video right after the fights on Saturday. Try to get it done ASAP. But this is the Fight Guy. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you on the flip side.